Thanks. I'm Dan. I primarily gave a talk on Python libraries for hardware and silicon design, which one of the attendees told me was like being on acid. But I'll spend 5 minutes on something that hopefully is applicable to more of us, something we're all here doing at some level, which is teaching and learning from each other. And going through this conference, you'll see most folks use a slide presentation like this. I see a few of you are brave enough to do something like this guy in the high wire doing live coding. The folks who use Jupyter for this, I think it's a great tool for that. But what I really want to talk about is an element that even the live coding talks don't have, which is some interaction. And believe it or not, this will be a 5-minute interactive presentation, so I encourage you to have your laptop or phone ready for about minute 3. But I want to show a couple problems I consistently see when we try to do this. The first one, if I'm trying to teach you a library, introduce an idea, step 1 is often start installing stuff. Okay, if you have nice tools like pip, this isn't so hard. If you have other languages, maybe languages that start with C, it could be a lot harder. At best, it's wasting time that we could actually be learning from each other. Second, if I want to give you a complicated narrative, a complicated story, we might often start with something simple. Step 1, do something sort of uncomplicated. Step 2, use it. And then 70 plus steps later, when we get to step 73, which use steps 1 through 72, we've got this very cool, elaborate thing built. Only problem being, if you fell off the track in steps 1 through 72, you're done. You're out. Worst of all, even worse, is no one else knows that you fell off the track. Maybe not even you. Certainly not me or everyone else along with you. And fourth, this should be fun. This should be sort of a game to be able to go back and forth and learn from each other. So I've been kicking the tires on making a tool to get around these problems, to have this set of stuff. And what I'm going to encourage you to do now, I'm sorry this isn't displaying very well, but class with a k.live/PyConDE will take you to a link that looks like this, which somebody's already beaten me to, which will have a scoreboard talking about the game element. And what I've done is set up behind the scenes a container for a server where something like Jupyter is running, and we're presented with something like the notebook interface, where we have a combination of markdown and code cells, but are organized into sort of problems that I've got my solution to the meaning of life sort of pre-coded, but very much like in Jupyter form. Shift-Enter submits a response. You can do this as well. That fails. My past one passes. We can see everyone's on the scoreboard. Great. Now, what I'm going to do as the host is jump us ahead to the next problem, which is where we're going to introduce a little more fun thing, which is, let's hear your favorite type. Now, this is where the game gets another level more interesting, because this is a question where there's some room for debate. There's some room for different answers. And what we'll be able to do is review what everybody had to say. And whether it worked or not, whether it's working or not, is based on the tests I provided, which do scoring on the server in the environment that everyone is using dedicated to this session. So, this is what I've been kicking the tires on for a little while. If you're trying to teach people to use a library or do things kind of like the tutorials here, and this seems like any form of a good idea, hit me up here around the conference, or you can email me here. And thanks very much for your time.